Well, it looks like Ryan Reynolds is looking to get dismissed from the lawsuit and I guess abandon his wife to just go through it alone.
This case is now, I think, already been dismissed, right, Ron? So this has already been filed and done with the date of September 27th in New York.
And is really going to expose Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds for the conniving people that they are.
This is what one headline says. Ryan Reynolds' rep calls him the man Justin Baldoni built his brand pretending to be in fiery new statements. The games y'all are playing now. Legal team filed a motion to dismiss Baldoni's complaint against the actor, arguing that It Ends With Us director-actor's claims have no merit, as the lawsuit focuses on Reynolds allegedly calling Baldoni, 41, a predator.
Ryan Reynolds completely ditched Blake Lively in court, walking away from the lawsuit as if they were total strangers. On the other hand, Blake was the one who ignited the entire legal drama, stoking the fire with fake lawsuits, leaked messages, and attention-grabbing PR moves, all aimed at Justin Baldoni. And now her plan is backfiring spectacularly. Then, on March 18th, 2025, Ryan made a shocking move.
According to Reynolds' attorneys, Mike Gottlieb and Ezra Hudson, that doesn't legally qualify as defamation.
His team filed to have him officially pulled from the Justin Baldoni case, essentially waving goodbye, and leaving Blake to deal with the utter mayhem. He practically tossed her under the bus, slamming the door behind him with a "Good luck, babe." It's a complete legal disaster for her. His legal defense is unbelievably petty. They're claiming that Ryan's personal digs, calling Baldoni a predator, are protected under the First Amendment. In other words,
Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to express his opinion of Mr. Baldoni, which should be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies.
They're arguing it's not defamation. It's just some extra fiery free speech. It's freedom of expression, but weaponized in the courtroom. Meanwhile, Blake's stuck buried in piles of subpoena documents and drafting 800-page sob stories. Ryan, on the other hand, couldn't care less. "I just said something. I didn't mean to kick off the Hunger Games." He shrugged it off. But wait, his lawyers weren't done yet. They even took a shot at the rest of us.
Spokesperson for Reynolds dismissed Baldoni's lawsuit as an attempt to go after an actor for living the very values Baldoni claims to stand for. The claims filed against Mr. Reynolds are simply a list of grievances.
Claiming this case should offer comfort to those who've called Mr. Reynolds and Miss Lively bullies. Really? Now, they're pulling content creators into the mess just for pointing out that Blake's been channeling Regina George with a law degree. And then there's this whole fiasco called Nice Pool, Ryan's Deadpool ripoff that's basically a cartoon version of Justin Baldoni. And let's face it, it's painfully cringeworthy. The character look speaks.
Any lawyer will tell you you do not file a complaint if you don't know the name of the person that you are suing, unless you're trying to protect that person's identity for some reason, which if you're pissed off enough to sue them, you probably don't care about their identity.
And even has the same backstory as Baldoni. Then, out of nowhere, they kill him off for some cheap shock factor. But here's the kicker. Ryan's lawyers had the audacity to claim that Baldoni is just being overly sensitive about it. That's like Blake starting a wildfire and blaming the wind. Let's be honest, the moment Ryan saw that ship going down, he bailed faster than you can say, "Nice Pool 3." He washed his hands of the whole mess, leaving Blake to deal with the aftermath on her own.
Such a mistake and impossible and not appropriate and going to get them in trouble. Why would they have done it?
And honestly, who can blame him? Now, brace yourself for the plot twist. On September 27th, an enigmatic company named Vans and Inc. suddenly emerges and files a lawsuit. And guess who's signing the papers? Ryan Reynolds. And plot twist, Blake Reynolds. That's actually Blake Lively's legal name, giving herself a corporate villain persona with zero subtlety. It's straight out of a legal soap opera. The lawsuit doesn't name any real individuals.
Van Zandt versus the John Does is clearly a Blake Lively lawsuit, but clearly was filed without anybody's actual name. to skirt the issue and try to get this more secretive.
Just generic placeholders like John Doe and Jane Doe. Honestly, what is this? A courtroom Mad Libs. It's a completely made-up case with no actual defendants. And somehow, we're supposed to treat it as legitimate. The whole thing got tossed out. But just 2 days later, the New York Times drops an article blasting Baldoni and portraying Blake as the innocent hero of Hollywood. Coincidence? Yeah, right.
Would be an abusive process, and we intend to take all action allowable under the law, as you're saying, echoing what you're saying.
That lawsuit was nothing more than a Trojan horse, just a sneaky way to serve subpoenas disguised as a legitimate legal action. This was never about seeking justice. It was a PR stunt wrapped in legal jargon for all the drama. They threw together a fake lawsuit just long enough to fire off subpoenas and dig for dirt, then ditched it before anyone could call out its fakeness. The telltale sign, not a single mention of sexual harassment. It wasn't about the truth.
Use misinformation and disinformation, which I've kind of started to realize that people love to use that when they just don't have a proper argument that they can articulate.
It was all about getting their hands on private texts they had no right to see. Enter the surreal nightmare known as Subpoena-gate. Hold on tight, because if this checks out, it's straight up illegal. Allegedly, Blake's behind-the-scenes ally, Stephanie Jones, broke into Jennifer A.L.'s phone. How? With Cellebrite software, the same top-tier forensics tool used in FBI investigations. I mean, you don't use Cellebrite to check your texts from your mom.
The entire thing that started this lawsuit and the explosive text messages that were included in the original New York Times article were text messages that were stolen off the phone of Jennifer Abel by her employer named Stephanie Jones.
It's for unlocking phones in criminal cases. This isn't just some shady app from the App Store. It's serious law enforcement grade tech. And here's the twist. Stephanie reportedly extracted private messages between Jennifer L. and Melissa Nathan, two women she just so happened to have beef with. And instead of reaching out to a lawyer, she supposedly handed those texts straight over to Blake's PR team. Forget legal channels. It went straight to the gossip machine.
They, being Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, alleged that they issued the subpoena to Stephanie Jones.
Yeah, super professional, right? Here's the most scandalous part. None of this even happened after an official case was filed. There was absolutely no legal grounds to seize or read those messages. But Blake's team pushed forward anyway. Those texts became the foundation of the New York Times expose, which dropped on December 21st like a bombshell. And now Blake's walking around like she's been blessed by fate. And don't miss the most ridiculous twist.
That she started because of her racism, and I think that's going to her plantation wedding. We know about how she donated this money.
When they realized the stolen texts weren't admissible, they supposedly fabricated a retroactive subpoena to cover their tracks, hoping no one would catch on. It's like robbing a bank and then walking back in with a fake withdrawal slip. Just because you create the paperwork doesn't wipe away the crime or the deception. If even half of this circus is true, we've crossed the line from bad PR to full-on criminal territory. Blake Lively could go from red carpet queen to courtroom catastrophe.
Eric Binder, the agent that represents Van Zandt Inc., which we know about that lawsuit, the sham lawsuit and all of that.
Faster than the paparazzi, can flash a camera. And Ryan? He's already halfway out the door, waving goodbye like she was never part of his life, acting like his wedding ring vanished into thin air. Meanwhile, the press is just waiting for their next move. Ryan's racing for the door, Blake's conjuring up fake lawsuits. And someone reportedly used military-grade hacking tools to snatch gossip texts, like it's a high school drama from 2006.
LLC laundromat extraordinaire, from CPA to cloak and dagger partner, the fixer behind the filing cabinet.
But this isn't just petty gossip. It's real lawsuits, millions at stake, and careers hanging by a thread. Now enter Eric Binder, the guy you call when you need a problem to vanish without a trace. He'll bury your mess in shadowy LLCs with untraceable filings and addresses pulled straight out of Wall Street thrillers. Eric's not just an accountant. He's the real-life fixer straight out of every scandal movie, moving money like a phantom.
Right after the California Civil Rights Department filing dropped, and just as the New York Times ran its Hollywood hit piece, Binder quietly exited stage left and poof, resurfaced as a partner at ML Management Partners,
erasing paper trails and making evidence disappear, all while hiding behind polished resumes and P.O. boxes. Here's the kicker. Eric is listed as the registered agent for Vans and Inc., that bogus lawsuit shell, and also for Maximum Effort, Ryan Reynolds' marketing empire, and Give Lively, Blake's so-called nonprofit that's faker than her surprised expression at every awards show. That should raise red flags higher than Ryan's ego. But hold on.
Before he was with ML Management, that he just joined in January of this year, but then going back years, he's registered with, he uses the ML Management address in New York.
It gets even wilder. According to court records, Binder officially joined ML Management in January 2025, but the company's own filings show him as part of the team since 2020. And his previous firm, which he supposedly ran for 15 years, states he only left in February 2025. So what's the truth? Was he juggling 2 jobs across different time zones? Or did someone just rewrite history to clean up the narrative? All these shady LLCs.
Then Vision PR, which is Leslie Sloan's company.
Vans and Inc., Liz Plank, LLC, Vision PR, Maximum Effort, and Give Lively are linked to one questionable address, 888 7th Avenue, NYC. It's like a sign that reads, "Welcome to the Blake Lively PR Laundromat," stamped across the back of the dreary building. The wild part, when you Google Ryan Reynolds ML Management, absolutely nothing shows up. No website, no LinkedIn profiles, no firm records, nothing.
Mr. Baldoni has built his brand pretending to be a man who is confident enough to listen to the women in his life. The statement reads.
Yet, he seems to be handling the chaos with little concern, as shown by his reckless remarks. This is either some celebrity-level underground fight club damage control, or Ryan's got secret invisibility powers. Then there's Binder, whose job title basically translates to managing where the light doesn't shine, which is just a fancy way of saying, I clean up messes for billionaires.
Binder was the registered agent for Vans and Inc., the ghost company used to subpoena a private phone under a sham lawsuit and unlawfully, or how he also handled filings for Liz Plank LLC, whose LLC address is the same as Maximum Effort.
And this guy's in charge of your wholesome nonprofit and chill little brand. Please, you're not selling cookies if you're calling Binder. You're building lawsuits like sandcastles and praying the tide doesn't come crashing in. Speaking of Binder, meet Allison Binder, the registered agent for Colleen Hoover's production company, Heartbones Entertainment, which was launched in January 2023. Allison's no beginner. She's a partner at a top-tier entertainment law firm in Beverly Hills.
Who is the registered agent there? Allison Binder. Not the same address, but the same last name. I don't know. Is that a coincidence?
The kind of firm that churns out NDAs faster than you can say damage control. She's the go-to expert when A-list clients need their secrets buried in legal jargon. So, are Allison and Eric related? Officially, there's no paper trail. But let's be real, same last name, overlapping timelines, and both tangled up in the same Hollywood house of mirrors. Allison's firm even manages LLCs linked to 888 7th Avenue, just like Eric.
And I was just like, it's registered to the same building, the same place, it's part of the same thing. And it's this big nonprofit charity website, but I did not have any ties to Blake Lively that I could find directly. Well, I did some more sleuthing and we're going to cover that.
Colleen Hoover's LLC fits perfectly into the Reynolds Lively web, like it was designed that way from the start. Suspicious? More like painfully obvious. A Binder power network pulling the strings behind the curtain. And let's not overlook this. Hoover's been involved long before any lawsuit surfaced. While everyone thought she was busy writing tear-jerking romance novels and prepping for her big screen debut, she might have actually been tangled up in a much messier drama behind the scenes.
Reynolds argued that it is substantially true that Baldoni is a predator, as Baldoni himself has confessed on podcast appearances to crossing boundaries in his younger days due to his addiction to pornography.
This is starting to feel less like teamwork and more like a Hollywood conspiracy in legal disguise, with Ryan as the quiet mastermind, Blake as the puppet in free fall, and the binders orchestrating everything from behind the scenes. This entire operation feels less like a clever PR move and more like a botched spy thriller that forgot to cover its tracks. The moment it all screams amateur hour is hands down one of the most petty, humiliating high school drama on steroids stunts.
Or how Maximum Effort, Reynolds' prize baby, also lists Binder as its agent along with Give Lively, Blake's pet nonprofit that was a reaction to people calling her out on her racism.
In this whole saga, I'm talking about the jaw-dropping moment when Blake Lively allegedly locked Justin Baldoni in a godforsaken storage closet during the premiere of It Ends With Us. No kidding, it went down at a New York City theater. Enter the internet's top detective, a fearless TikToker who stormed the venue, confirmed the hidden basement and storage closet, and even tried to peek inside. TikToker was literally seconds away from being tackled by security.
The Civic movie theater did not have a basement, so this was her argument. So I decided to go to New York City myself and visit the movie theater where the premiere happened, and I can 100% confirm, and I'll include the footage here, that there is a basement in that movie theater and there is in fact a storage closet.
But not before capturing priceless video proof. And here's the kicker. The closet in that video matches Baldoni's own premiere night photo perfectly. Remember that image everyone dismissed as random? Yeah, not a chance. The guy was locked in a mop closet while Blake Lively, the star of the film, strutted around like she hadn't just embarrassed her own director on the biggest night of his career. It's a cinematic disaster, minus the Hollywood gloss.
I can confirm, and you guys can as well, based on the photos that Justin Baldoni shared from the night of the premiere, that was the storage closet that he was basically held captive in, because Blake Lively didn't want to be in the same room as him.
Because she couldn't bear the idea of being in the same room as him. The sheer pettiness, the massive ego, the audacity. You're starring in his movie built on his vision, and instead of acting like a professional for even a second, you treat him like some background extra, ruining your photo shoot. This isn't just toxic, it's vindictive in a way that only Blake Lively could pull off. Not only did she allegedly try to tarnish Baldoni's reputation with legal tricks.
This is just kind of a small example of how certain people don't want to reckon with actual factual reality, which has always been something strange to me.
But she also physically tried to erase him from his own premiere, like he was some unwanted relative nobody acknowledges at family gatherings. The sheer ego it takes to do this in front of the public is mind-blowing. And yet, here she is, still playing the misunderstood victim in the media. Girl, you didn't just burn that bridge. You locked the builder in the basement and set the whole thing on fire because Blake refused to even share the same space with him. Talk about pettiness, an inflated ego, and sheer audacity. You're the star of his film, born from his vision, and instead of showing even a shred of professionalism, you treat him like a janitor ruining your photo shoot. This goes beyond toxic. It's downright vindictive, a level of spite only Blake Lively seems to have mastered. Allegedly, she twisted legal tactics to tarnish Baldoni's name, then tried to physically erase him from his own world premiere.
Binder is a partner with no website profile, and it's tucked into a company where even the staff have private LinkedIns with names hidden and profiles that can't be opened.
Like he was the awkward cousin hidden away at family gatherings. The arrogance is absolutely staggering. And yet, she's still out here playing the poor, misunderstood victim of some grand media conspiracy. And Blake, she's not even bothering to clean up the mess anymore. She's too busy playing the sweet blonde from the shampoo commercials. But sweetheart, the only thing you're washing away is your last remaining fans. Then there's Leslie Sloan, the publicist whose PR skills make Fix Her look like a gig at Pottery Barn. She's been Blake and Ryan's personal spin doctor for years. But what she allegedly pulled in this legal circus goes way beyond simple PR. It's straight up borderline criminal chaos.
Mr. Reynolds has a First Amendment right to hold Mr. Baldoni or any man who Mr. Reynolds believes sexually harassed his wife in deep disdain, the motion states.
Dressed up as media management, Stephanie Jones allegedly hacked Jennifer A.L.'s phone using Celebrite and grabbed a stack of private texts. Next stop, Sloan. And what does Sloan do when she's handed stolen messages? Does she hesitate for a second on ethics? Legal advice? Not a chance. She allegedly treats it like a Black Friday sale and unleashes it with full force. The plan? Brilliant in its simplicity. Twist those texts into a bombshell story, deliver them straight to the New York Times, and paint Blake Lively as Hollywood's tragic martyr. This whole scheme is held together with toothpicks, duct tape, and felony-level sleaze. Here's the real clue. That infamous New York Times article dropped on December 21st, 2024.
Them allegedly living apart and actually divorcing.
Just 2 days after that fake Vanson lawsuit was dismissed. 2 days. You expect us to believe a full-blown expose landed perfectly in line with Blake's team's narrative? Dream on. This timing screams collusion. Nah, this isn't journalism. It's straight-up schedule coordination. Let's be real. Blake's California Civil Rights Department complaint is just a flashy PowerPoint built on stolen evidence. They tried to pass it off as some noble crusade, but in reality, it's just messy TikTok drama dressed up as legal action, with receipts shamefully yanked straight from someone else's phone. The aftermath? Pure chaos and shattered trust. Now that the plan's been exposed, guess what everyone's doing? They're sprinting faster than Blake runs from responsibility. Stephanie Jones is completely ghosting the whole thing. Ryan's filing exit papers like
Time magazine will list you as a civil rights titan because 6 years ago you donated some money.
He's ditching a nightmare group project. Leslie, totally radio silent. And Blake, she's still standing there, crown half melted, surrounded by smoke, acting like she's walking the Met Gala red carpet. Except this time, no one's clapping. And here comes the next phase of the collapse. Ryan Reynolds' official I'm out paperwork filed in March 2025. The man didn't just distance himself. He hit eject, parachuted out, and sent a text from the sky. Good luck, Blake. Talk about the ultimate mic drop in this whole disaster. His legal argument that mocking Justin Baldoni's past addiction to adult content is totally justified as opinion and public discourse. Ryan actually argued that Baldoni's lawsuit was just thin-skinned outrage, as if recreating a man's trauma with a prosthetic nose and an exploding body in Deadpool light was simply edgy satire.
Ryan, I would say, in my opinion, is plausibly the most guilty party of this entire thing.
What's wild is that Ryan never bothered to explain why he had to go so hard. If he truly didn't mean to harass someone, why create an entire cinematic character to do it? Why write lines just to humiliate him? Why actually kill him off on screen? That's not thin-skinned outrage. That's an obsession with a serious budget. Meanwhile, tabloids and legal insiders are buzzing with the same gossip. Blake and Ryan aren't even living together anymore. They're headed for a split, and you don't even need page 6 to tell you that. Ryan's courtroom tone says it all. No more no joint statements, no matching denim or hand-holding on the red carpet. He's distancing himself like she's leaking radiation. And let's be real, it all adds up. Ryan built his image as the lovable, funny guy, but now he's caught up in secret subpoenas, PR sabotage, and potential criminal misuse of private data.
Thesis is essentially that Ryan is actually such a good guy that he kind of had to be a bad guy.
That's not quirky. It's a career killer if he stays in the game too long. So he's playing it smart, cutting ties before his brand turns to ashes. Now, what's left? As this castle of lies falls apart, Blake Lively is still throwing 800-page legal documents around like they're magical shields. Blake, you're not crafting a bestseller. You're desperately trying to dodge legal disaster with paperwork heavier than your hair extensions. And here's the real kicker. Even the insiders are jumping ship on this mess. Stephanie Jones, the alleged hacker who sparked the whole subpoena chaos, actually filed a statement saying, "I'm not footing the bill for CHT." That's how bad it's gotten when even your own allies bail out and leave you high and dry like forgotten mascara. And meanwhile, Wayfair Studios absolutely shut down Blake and Ryan's dismissal motions with airtight opposition, and won hands down.
Reynolds, who is married to Blake Lively, was accused in the lawsuit of mocking and bullying Baldoni by using the character of Nicepool in Deadpool and Wolverine to satirize Baldoni's woke feminist image.
Can you imagine getting obliterated in court by the very studio you tried to take down with a scorched earth campaign? Honestly, the only thing crashing harder than her case is her influence. And let's not overlook the moment that practically screams guilty panic. Blake's shampoo brand actually begged the court to protect their private records. What's next? Her flat iron filing a restraining order. When even your hair care line is on its knees pleading for mercy, you know you're in serious trouble. And just when you think it couldn't get more absurd, Blake lands a spot on Time magazine's list of most influential people. Irony at its finest. Influential? Nah, more like filing endless lawsuits to cover up a PR catastrophe, turning every legal twist into an Instagram disaster. If Time handed out awards for most creatively destructive, Blake would be on stage with a trophy taller than her legal stack. At this point, she's completely isolated.
Publicly humiliating Justin Baldoni as soon as he could, as many times as he could, and using as many A-list actors as he could.
No allies, no escape routes. The self-inflicted wreckage is real, and she's at the center of it all, pretending like it's just another day in Hollywood. Ryan's bailed, the media's in a frenzy, the NT's likely getting kicked off the case. And even her charity Give Lively is starting to look like some kind of cruel joke. The queen of the red carpet is now buried in court documents, pleading with the judge not to crack open the wrong folder. Forget the fairy tale. Those flawless Instagram posts are history. The America's sweetheart glow is gone. Now it's all about court summons mounting legal costs and the very real chance that everything comes crashing down in the most public way possible. And Ryan, he's likely kicked back on a yacht somewhere, gin in hand, whispering to himself, dodged a bullet with that exit. Meanwhile, Blake's out here transforming their once private life into a front row legal circus for the world to binge watch. If you found this breakdown interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more industry drama. This is Sasha Spills, signing off. Catch you in the next video.